My brother's wedding became his funeral. I was watching my brother's wedding live stream from my room at Riverside Psychiatric Hospital when chaos erupted. A bloodied, naked man burst into the ceremony, throwing himself at my brother's feet. Please, Ryan. You've already destroyed my face, shredded my clothes. I'm no threat anymore. Don't send me back to the asylum. I'll stay away from Sophia, I swear. The bride, Sophia Whitmore, exploded with rage. She ordered her security to beat my brother on the spot, dozens of blows raining down on him. Lucas grew up in foster care, always walking on eggshells, the gentlest soul alive. How could you be so cruel to him? I've been too lenient with you. Today you'll learn the Whitmore family doesn't tolerate vicious trash like you. The wedding imploded. My brother was dragged away, thrown into a van headed for some remote monastery for reflection and repentance. When I saw him again, his face was mangled, chest caved in, fingers twisted at unnatural angles. Nothing like the vibrant young man who used to visit me. Rage consumed me as I forced the hospital director to sign my discharge papers. Whoever touched my brother would pay with their lives. Chapter 1. When I pushed open our front door, Mom lay motionless on her bed. My brother was dead. Mom had gone to confront Sophia Whitmore. Sophia couldn't believe Ryan was dead. Lucas Sterling, standing beside her, suddenly laughed. He pulled out his phone lazily. Ryan dead? Impossible. His fingers danced across the screen. Strange, in this video from earlier, he's sleeping so peacefully. The video showed my brother lying still, lashes casting shadows on his pale face, as if he might wake any moment. Mom shoved Lucas in fury. My son is covered in wounds in the morgue. You killed him. Sophia shot to her feet, face twisted with anger. Enough. Ryan's so desperate he's using his mother to put on this act? You really are cut from the same cloth, nothing but lies. Lucas lounged against the leather sofa, lips curling. Mrs. Mitchell, this behavior really embarrasses Ryan. Sophia flicked her sleeve dismissively, telling the guards, throw her out. Mom was dragged outside and had both legs broken. Listening to her story, I pulled back the white sheet from my brother's face without expression. His face was a map of scars. Chest caved in, limbs twisted like a crushed butterfly. Mom sobbed behind me. He must have been in so much pain. I'm Ethan Mitchell. Ryan was my twin. Ryan had always been bright and vivacious while I was silent, unsmiling, with eyes that held a disturbing coldness. Nobody wanted to talk to me. They called me a monster, a psycho. Only Ryan would press his last piece of candy into my mouth, eyes sparkling. Is it sweet, Ethan? I gently touched his face. His eyes were sealed shut forever. That year, the school board member's son targeted him. Several figures dragged my brother into an alley. Ryan ran in panic while I followed silently behind. When Ryan finally escaped, relieved they hadn't caught him, he didn't see me behind them, drenched in blood. That night, the moon was full. I didn't go home. The board member's family was slaughtered. When police arrived, the scene left them speechless. I sat in the blood, smiling as I counted candy wrappers Ryan had given me. They said I was sick. I was locked in a psychiatric hospital. The windows always had iron bars welded shut. Ryan visited regularly, pressing his face against the cold metal, eyes crescent-shaped. Ethan, the cherry blossoms bloomed today. Though I never spoke, he always chattered about his happiness. The last time I saw him, he beamed at me. I'm getting married, Ethan. Mom will live stream it for you. Watch me be a handsome groom. The wedding never finished. He was gone. I strangled the director with restraint straps until he signed my discharge. Anyone who touched my brother would die. After handling Ryan's funeral, I just entered our house with his urn when the door was kicked open. Lucas Sterling strutted in wearing designer heels, arm linked with Sophia, sneering. Well, well. Isn't this our dead Mr. Mitchell? Sophia's gaze fell on the urn in my arms, expression flickering. But seeing my face, her eyes turned cold. Ryan, stooping to this pathetic act for sympathy? Lucas hugged Sophia, laughing. Sophia only sent you for a few days of meditation. But you beat up the monks and now show up with an urn playing victim. Planning to trick Sophia into attending another fake funeral? His hand suddenly reached for the urn. Let me see what dumpster you found this in. I dodged. He stumbled and nearly fell. Ryan. Sophia barked. How long will you keep this up? Playing dead isn't enough, now you're pushing Lucas. Lucas rubbed his ankle pathetically, eyes glinting with malice. I know Ryan still blames me for ruining his wedding. Sophia, don't be angry with him. It's all my fault. Sophia's face darkened. Ryan apologized to Lucas immediately. I stood expressionless, holding my brother's urn steady. Mom wheeled forward in her chair, blocking me, screaming at Sophia. Get out. You're not welcome here. Sophia's face flushed with rage as she grabbed my wrist. This is Mitchell family manners. Since you won't repent, guards, drag him back. He can return when he learns obedience. I shook off her hand, smiling darkly. Fine. Perfect. I needed to find my brother's killers anyway. Sophia blinked, clearly not expecting such quick agreement. I gently placed Ryan's urn on the memorial altar, caressing his photo in the frame. He smiled so sweetly. Just like when he used to give me candy as children. As I stood to leave, Mom grabbed me. Ethan. She called softly, eyes full of reluctance. I patted her hand. Mom sighed heavily, finally releasing me. Go. I nodded, following Sophia to the car without looking back. Lucas sat in front. The moment I closed the door, he whined to Sophia, "Something's in my eye." Sophia immediately leaned over to blow on it, their faces nearly touching, breath mingling. They'd completely forgotten me in the back. After she finished, Lucas glanced back smugly. I sat quietly, eyes downcast, as if unaware. The car wound through mountain roads toward the monastery. The predatory genes in my blood stirred. These were the ones who killed Ryan. The radio crackled. Breaking news, a dangerous patient has escaped from Riverside Psychiatric Hospital. Citizens should remain vigilant. I watched. The oblivious pair in front, lips curling silently. After dropping me at the monastery, Sophia left immediately. She never saw the terror in the abbot's eyes. The heavy doors slammed shut with a bang. Several men approached, cigarettes dangling from their lips, wearing revolting grins. Well, if it isn't our little princess. Miss your brothers already? Weren't satisfied last time? We'll make sure you're happy now. Stop wasting time. Strip him, usual rules. I kept my head down, listening to their heavy breathing get closer, muscles coiling tight. When I didn't move, the leader pulled out a whip with a sneer. Stubborn bitch. Need me to flay you before you'll listen? The whip cracked through the air. I caught it. He froze, then exploded, fighting back. I'll fucking destroy you. Before he finished cursing, I yanked hard. He stumbled forward. I delivered over a dozen slaps. The crisp sounds echoed through the courtyard. Others were still laughing, can't even handle a pretty boy. Until he turned, spitting blood and broken teeth, face swollen like a pig. The laughter died. Deathly silence filled the courtyard. The abbot suddenly shrieked, "Ryan's supposed to be dead. He's dead." Everyone froze, staring at my feet. In the sunlight, my shadow was clearly visible. Fuck, he's alive. The leader spat, eyes turning vicious again. Who cares? One weak kid can't cause trouble. They advanced with cracking knuckles, grinning. I kept my head down, unable to control my widening smile. They had no idea. I was born with monstrous strength. How else could I have slaughtered an entire family? Violence ran in my veins. If not for Ryan, why would I have held back so long? Now, I didn't need to anymore. The screaming lasted 3 full days. The beauty of this remote monastery was that any sounds vanished like stones in deep water. When Sophia came to collect me, the monastery was burnt ruins. I huddled by broken walls, clothes shredded, face smeared with ash, blood caked under my nails. Disgusting. She threw me a coat. Lucas brushed past, hissing in my ear, "Why didn't you burn to death?" I hunched in the back seat, trembling. My sleeve still had dried blood bears. Those men on their knees begging had been so entertaining. Especially when I used the hammer to crush their manhood inch by inch. Men of God should be pure, after all. Perfect. Now every bone was as beautifully shattered as Ryan's. Remembering their agonized screams in the flames, I smiled silently. Finally home. As I stepped toward the entrance, Lucas blocked the doorway with his foot. "Ryan, you're filthy. Clean up in the yard first. The garden hose still works. I'll have someone help you." He acted considerate, but malice flashed in his eyes. It was winter. The yard would be freezing. Cold water would make me sick for sure. I looked at Sophia, but she walked inside without turning, clean up before entering. The door slammed, locking me out. I crouched by the rusty faucet as 3 guards surrounded me. The same ones who'd beaten Ryan at the wedding. They pulled out the fire hose. "Nothing personal, Mr. Mitchell." The leader licked his lips, aiming the water at my collar. "Miss Whitmore wants every inch cleaned." Through a gap in the second-floor curtains, Lucas's silhouette flickered. When Sophia's figure approached, he quickly closed the curtains. I wiped water from my eyes, suddenly giving them a dark smile. The high-pressure hose was shoved down their throats. When I entered clean and dry, the yard had 3 new, fountain sculptures, bloated like water-filled piglets. Sophia frowned, wrapping a towel around my dripping hair with surprising gentleness. "Why so long? Weren't you just rinsing off?" She pushed a steaming bowl of chicken soup toward me. "Kitchen made this specially. Change clothes and drink it while it's hot." I responded rarely, going upstairs to change. Lucas's eyes burned with jealousy as he eagerly brought me the soup. But before I could take it, the scalding liquid spilled all over me. "Ah!" Lucas cried out. "Ryan, I kindly brought you soup and you deliberately knocked it over to burn me. I know you hate me." "Sophia, I'll leave right now. Never come back to bother you." Sophia rushed over, cradling his uninjured hand, face full of concern. She completely missed my badly scalded hands. Turning to bark at me. Ryan apologized to Lucas. My heart suddenly ached. This was how they treated my brother. Pearls before swine. I lunged for the entrance, the electronic lock clicking as I sealed the mansion. Sophia roared, "Ryan, what are you doing? Have you lost all manners?" Apologized to Lucas immediately. My face darkened, eyes turning crimson as I slowly approached them. Lucas, nestled in her arms, suddenly widened his eyes in terror. Pointing at the wall-mounted TV with a trembling finger, too shocked to speak, You're. I raised a finger to my lips, whispering. "Shoo. The show's just beginning." Sophia grabbed me roughly, making me stumble. What game are you playing? You burned Lucas. Apologize now. I slowly raised my head, voice hoarse from disuse. He burned me first. I lifted my hand, showing blisters covering the skin. Sophia's pupils contracted, expression freezing. How did this happen? She turned for the first aid kit, but Lucas clutched her clothes desperately, knuckles white. Don't. Go. His voice shook uncontrollably, face pale as death. Sophia patted him soothingly. I'll be right back. Her footsteps faded upstairs. The mansion fell deathly silent except for the fountain sculptures gurgling in the yard. I slowly approached Lucas, tilting my head with a smile. Now it's just us. His pupils shrank to pinpoints as he shook uncontrollably. Ah. Lucas shoved me hard. I hit the wall with a bang. You're not Ryan. He never smiles like that. I tilted my head, savoring his terror. Then who am I? Behind me, the TV was broadcasting, escaped patient characteristics. My photo filled the screen. Lucas's eyes hardened. He suddenly pulled a baseball bat from behind the couch, smashing it into my head. I don't care who you are. Stars exploded across my vision as warm liquid ran down my temple. He shook the bat, fear replaced by viciousness. You're just as disgusting as that pathetic Ryan. Blood blurred my vision but made his face crystal clear in the red haze. When Sophia rushed downstairs, Lucas had already kicked the bat to my feet and smeared my blood on his face, collapsing dramatically. Sophia, he hit me. He gasped before conveniently passing out. Sophia pulled him into her arms, looking at me like garbage. Ryan. You're beyond redemption. She commanded, get outside and kneel. We'll deal with you when Lucas wakes. She carried Lucas toward the door. Bang. The door didn't budge. I leisurely wiped blood from my eyes, vision swimming red. Hee. I couldn't help laughing, the sound like rusty blades on glass. Are you insane? Sophia turned back furiously. Open the door. I tilted my head, enjoying her growing panic. While making the sculptures, I disabled the security system. The door was sealed. Blood dripped from my chin, blooming into little flowers on the floor. This door. I licked blood from my lips. Nobody's opening it today. Sophia's face went white. Ryan. I don't have time for your games. Lucas is unconscious. I grabbed the faker's hair, ripping him from Sophia's arms by the scalp. Lucas shrieked. I clapped and laughed. See? He's awake. Lucas snarled, how dare you? Sophia, call someone to arrest him. Sophia reached for her phone. I snatched it away. Along with Lucas's phone. Crack. Both phones shattered against the decorative stones. I tilted my head, grinning like a demon. Good. Now no one can interrupt our game. Sophia's slap came flying. You're fucking insane. I caught her fist easily, fingers slowly tightening. Bones creaked under pressure until she fell to her knees in pain. I bound them both to dining chairs. The chicken soup bubbled. On the stove, rich aroma mixing with their terrified breathing. Look. You burned my hand. I showed Lucas my blistered skin. Then I slowly ladled the scalding soup, golden oil swirling on the surface. You said I burned you, but I can't find a single mark on you. Strange. Lucas's pupils dilated violently, chair creaking as he struggled. Lying is bad. I shook my head sadly, then tipped my wrist. Ah. The boiling liquid hit his pale hand, instantly raising angry red welts. I found the sound delightful. Bitch. I'll kill you. He screamed, voice cracking with pain. Slap. The blow silenced him instantly. I pressed my finger to my lips, quiet. You'll disturb the neighbors. My fingers traced his swollen cheek. Bad language gets punished, understand? I wound up and delivered dozens of slaps. Slap slap slap. Such beautiful sounds. Remembering Ryan's wedding beating, I hit harder. 97, 98, 99, 100. Lucas's face swelled like a pig's, mouth full of blood, unable to speak. The soup still bubbled invitingly. I gently lifted Lucas's chin, wiping blood from his face. Oh my, you're hurt. Injured people need nourishment. I scooped a spoonful of boiling soup, blowing on it in his terrified gaze. Here, let me feed you. He shook his head desperately, soup splashing his trembling lips. I grabbed his jaw, forcing his mouth open. MMPH, gulp, cough. The scalding liquid poured down his throat. His pupils blew wide. As the burning soup traveled down his esophagus, he convulsed like a fish out of water before going limp. This time. I patted his burning cheek. You really did pass out. Sophia thrashed wildly in her chair, muffled screams through her gag, veins bulging on her forehead. I walked over, gently patting her face. Don't worry. Your turn's coming. I slowly removed Sophia's gag, fingers trailing across her pale face. She gasped frantically, voice breaking. Ryan, how did you become like this? You used to avoid stepping on ants. Slap. The blow snapped her head sideways, blood trickling from her mouth. Still. Playing devoted lover? I gripped her chin, forcing her to look up. She trembled, continuing, Ryan, I know you resent Lucas. But he's just my foster brother. We're completely innocent. He's dying. Sophia's voice shook. If someone dies, I can't save you. I laughed softly, the iron rod glowing red in the flames. You keep calling me Ryan. Haven't you noticed I'm not him? I suddenly pressed the rod to her chest. The sizzle of burning flesh mixed with her screams. My brother said you were branded on his heart. I watched her contorted face as I carefully burned Ryan's name into her skin. Now you'll remember him forever. Ah. Ryan. I was wrong. Please. She writhed like a maggot, snot and blood covering her face. I'll send Lucas away, far away. We'll have another wedding, the grandest. Let me go and I promise you'll be the happiest groom. Whatever you want. Shoo, I crouched down, using a napkin to wipe her face with disgust. Ryan can't hear you anymore. You should tell him in person underground. See if he forgives you. The rod glowed red again. I aimed at her knees. You made him kneel so often. Seems you enjoy kneeling. So kneel forever. I swung the rod, shattering her kneecaps to powder. Sophia passed out completely. When sirens pierced the night, Sophia's fingers still twitched spasmodically. I carefully arranged their twisted limbs to match every angle in Ryan's autopsy report exactly. Can't let them die. Too easy. I wanted them to feel every moment of Ryan's agony. When police broke down the door, I was huddled in the corner, face full of terror. Blood still caked my nails, smeared across my face in bloody scratches. Help me. I shook like a broken doll, tears washing tracks through the blood. They went crazy, tried to kill me. Amid the stench of burnt flesh, police vomited everywhere. Cold handcuffs clicked around my wrists. I cowered like a frightened child, obediently following them to the squad car. In the ICU, Lucas Sterling and Sophia Whitmore survived. Lucas lay on his back, a thick breathing tube down his throat. Each labored breath scraped like sandpaper against his lungs, making wheezing sounds like broken bellows. His lips were cracked and purple, dried blood foam at the corners. Every weak breath made his chest heave violently, as if about to collapse entirely. That silver tongue that once charmed Sophia could only gape uselessly now, unable to form a single sweet word. Such a shame. He'd never sweet-talk anyone again. Sophia lay wrapped like a mummy, bound tightly to a special bed. Her knees were swathed in thick bandages, but yellowish pus still seeped through, soaking the gauze with a putrid stench. Miss Whitmore's wounds are severely infected. We need to debride again. The nurse lifted her blanket expressionlessly. That's when they saw Ryan burned crooked across her chest, the charred flesh curled like some twisted curse. The attending physician frowned, peeling back her knee bandages. Sophia's body jerked violently, incomprehensible whimpers squeezing from her throat. Her eyes rolled frantically in their bruised sockets, but she lacked even the strength to struggle. Her lips, cracked and white, moved constantly as if repeating something. A curious nurse leaned close, listening before straightening with confusion and disgust. Sounds like. I'm sorry, I'll be good. Meanwhile, I waited in my special cell for trial. 6 months later, I finally stood in court. Lucas's face was covered in hideous scars. Behind his massive mask, seeing me made him lunge forward like a wild animal. His ruined throat could only produce beast-like whimpers, as if he wanted to tear me apart. Sophia cowered in her wheelchair. Just seeing my shadow made her shake violently, desperately trying to hide in corners, voice breaking, don't hit me. I'm sorry, I'll behave. I smiled at them, that special smile that made their skin crawl. Across from us, the Whitmore family lawyer radiated righteous fury, ready to see me executed. Everyone thought my crimes were clear-cut, just waiting for the death sentence. But my lawyer and I sat expressionless, waiting for the verdict. During evidence submission, when my lawyer slowly produced several memory cards and inserted them into the system, the courtroom screens lit up. The next second, everyone gasped in horror. On screen, Lucas smiled at several men, malice glinting in his eyes. The monastery men. That boy's all yours too. Discipline. Make sure you treat him well. He handed over cash. The men laughed lecherously. Don't worry, Mr. Sterling will be very satisfied. Next came footage of Ryan kneeling, being savagely beaten with rulers across his thin back. More clips showed Ryan being tortured, his screams heart-wrenching, the cruelty unwatchable. The men laughed, scream all you want. No one's coming to save you. I kept my eyes down, fists clenched tight, fighting the violent genes in my blood, regretting I'd let them die too quickly. The video switched. After beating Ryan, the guards leered at his barely conscious form with perverted grins. In the corner, clearly visible, was Sophia Whitmore. She stood outside the door, listening to the sounds within, then turned and left. The final clip. Late night in a hotel room. Lucas sat disheveled on Sophia's lap, whining. What if Ryan holds a grudge? After all, I was just trying to help you. Sophia stroked his back, laughing softly, don't worry. He loves me so much, he'll do whatever I say. Besides, his parents are poor nobodies. If they die, who'll care? Then she pushed Lucas down on the leather sofa. The courtroom exploded. Animals. This is inhuman. An elderly woman in the gallery shot up, voice shaking. The Whitmore family acts so high and mighty, but they do this behind closed doors? Young reporters frantically typed on phones. That poor boy. A female juror clutched tissues, makeup running with tears. As the trial continued, Whitmore Corporation stock crashed, limit down in 10 minutes. More ironically, when the judge called recess, prosecutors stormed in and arrested Mr. Whitmore on the spot. Following the trail, they'd uncovered years of tax evasion, bribery, and corruption. The once mighty Whitmore empire collapsed before everyone's eyes like a house of cards. As the trial ended, I passed Sophia. I whispered in her ear, "You're blind in heart and soul. Those eyes are just decoration." A puddle of foul liquid spread beneath her wheelchair as she convulsed violently. Later I heard that one night, blood-curdling screams came from the Whitmore mansion. When servants broke down the door, they found her face covered in blood, fingers still digging in her empty, ruined eye sockets. She'd blinded herself. As for me, doctors said my paranoid delusions had worsened. The psychiatric hospital doors opened for me again. For the rest of my life, I'd never leave this prison. Through it all, my parents never appeared. Sunlight through the barred windows cast shadows on the floor. I counted those patches of light like I'd counted every day of these 10 years. Before taking revenge, I'd arranged new identities for them, new city, even new faces. The plastic surgeon was excellent. Even I couldn't recognize the gentle middle-aged couple in the photos as my parents. They now carried Ryan's ashes in some sunny coastal town, living under strange names in a life that had nothing to do with me. That was best. I curled in the corner of my bed, unconsciously picking at yellowed threads in the sheets. The filth of revenge shouldn't stain their clean lives. 10 years now. The hospital's iron windows were thick with rust, brown flakes often falling on the sill like dried blood. Sophia and Lucas's screams had long faded into time. They didn't last long. Daily agony tortured them, and with the Whitmore fortune gone, there was no money for treatment. They died in a dumpster, in painful torment. After trial, I was declared mentally incompetent and spared execution. Day after day I sat quietly, like a soulless doll. Even doctors praised me as their easiest patient. Only I knew it wasn't docility. My soul had turned to ash with revenge's completion. Until that day. Brother. A small face suddenly squeezed between the bars, nose pressed red. I slowly turned to see a girl about 6 or 7, with 2 crooked pigtails, cherry blossom petals stuck in her hair ties. Standing on tiptoes, she struggled to push a fruit candy into my mouth. Sweet orange flavor exploded on my tongue. The cherry blossoms are blooming outside. Her eyes sparkled like stars, fingers still dusted with gold from the candy wrapper. Mama said you loved these when you were little. Is it sweet? My stiff tongue felt the candy slowly melting. Taste buds that hadn't known sweetness in 10 years trembled. As if burned. In a daze, I seemed to see Ryan standing outside the bars again, pulling crumpled candy wrappers from his pocket. "Here, Ethan. For you." That was his last candy before he died. Also orange-flavored. I slowly raised my withered hand to wipe rust from her cheek. Cherry blossoms in the girl's hair reminded me of Ryan, smiling bright as those flowers. The candy in my mouth was sweet enough to make me cry. Through the bars, spring wind carried cherry petals inside, landing in her hair. She giggled, small hands clumsily trying to pin petals in my gray hair. Sunlight through the petals cast pink light on her face. I suddenly noticed her dimples looked like Ryan's. I brushed away the petals, fingertips touching her warm skin. That warmth made me jerk back as if shocked. Too long since I'd touched a living person. But she grabbed my fingers, soft palm pressed against them. "Sweet," I croaked, vocal cords like rusted gears, making sound for the first time in 10 years. Her eyes widened with delight as I held her small hand tight. Outside, the cherry tree swayed in the wind, pink and white petals dancing like that unfinished goodbye from 10 years ago finally getting its sequel. I thought I'd found a reason to live again. To protect her, until the spring wind grows old, until life's very end.